All right, welcome to another edition of Unstoppable REI. And today I have the privilege, I'm with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Corey Wright. Now, what's crazy about
Appreciate
this,
that.
yeah, man, what's crazy is that we have, I can almost say known each other, I don't know, cross paths for years, but church, I mean, all kinds of stuff. And so
Yeah.
I'm just glad to have the opportunity to talk with you today. So, man, let's just jump right in. So, tell me your story, man. Tell me, I mean, your elevator pitch. I mean, 30-second, 5 minute, whatever it is.
Man, I wish we had more time because I could
Yeah,
give you the hour
I'm
elevator
sure.
pitch,
I'm sure.
but for sake of time and sticking on topic, I'll go
Yeah.
back, 2007, 2008.
Okay.
Obviously I was in real estate, got caught up in the bubble, man. I had 7 properties. I had them here. I had them in Vegas, was in
Okay.
real estate. Obviously the bubble burst, right?
Right.
That wiped out everybody, man. I lost everything.
Okay.
But I had to build all that back up
Okay.
starting in 2010. I mean, I was pretty much like underwater, foreclosure, bankruptcy, the whole nine.
Okay.
Fast forward 10 years, man, and I do $1 million flips now. I do
Nice.
$1 million multifamily buildings.
Okay.
At one point, I had the largest minority-owned real estate brokerage, me and a business partner, and we sold that to the
Okay.
largest real estate company in Minnesota. So now I do transactions all over the place.
Okay.
And I'm blessed enough now where I can take my journey and help others create wealth. So I'm really into building wealth right now.
Nice. Nice. Well, so tell me, man, what is something that you wish you would have known when you started your career?
You only sell when you only lose money when you sell.
Okay.
I wish I would have held all those properties,
I
but
hear
a
you.
different time.
Yeah.
And just I wish I would have had a mentor that would have told me, like, you have to have an extreme belief in yourself.
Okay.
I mean, I always had a belief in myself,
Sure.
no matter what.
Yeah.
But there was times where there was a lot of people around me saying, you can't do this, you can't accomplish this.
Right.
Look at the setbacks you've had, look at the position you're in. And every once in a while, I'd let those detractors kind of take back from me a little bit.
Okay.
And it kind of slowed my growth a little bit. Instead of saying, no, this is my game plan, I'm sticking to it. I know I'm going to get to where I need to be.
Yeah. Yeah. What's interesting about that, man, is that most people, I don't know the exact stat, but like, I don't know, 5% of the population owns 90%, 95% of the wealth, whatever it is.
Yeah,
and so
it's close to that.
Yeah. So most people are going the wrong way. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's easier to follow them because that's where everybody's going. Like you're like the only one or two people going the other direction. It's like,
Right.
maybe they are right, no, but they're not right.
Yeah.
And so I hear exactly what you're saying. Yeah, go ahead.
A good analogy on that is if you're looking into the crowd of a bleachers, right, at a sporting event,
yeah,
and someone stands up to go to the bathroom or to get something to eat, that person stands out amongst the whole crowd.
Right.
So I always had this thought process of like, man, I want to stand up on the bleachers when everyone's sitting. Gotcha. And that'll help you stand out. I want to go the path people aren't going. I want to go the path that's harder. I want to get in the areas that people haven't mastered yet or that fail at, because I know that if I'm a success in those areas, my success will be greater.
What's interesting about that, man, I mean, you're just throwing out a bunch of gold here. So what's interesting about that is that got me all messed up on my questions, is that when you do something that requires a lot of, blood, sweat, and tears, I've always found that you are by yourself. I mean, there's no competition. So you almost know that you're heading in the right direction if nobody else is there but you, like you say, with the bleachers. Yeah. So it's like, oh man, so if you're not cool with being by yourself, doing your own thing, then you might not want to be successful.
When you find yourself being like, there's not a lot of people that have accomplished this. So when you start asking questions like, what was it like when you got here? And they're like, well, I never got to that level. You're like, oh, okay.
Right. So I'm headed the right way. I'm headed the right direction.
I think I'm going the right way then.
That's right. So man, tell me your biggest failure. Sounds like you, like me, you had a lot of failures, but you learn more from your failures than your successes, I think. But anyway,
100%.
What is your biggest, maybe one of the biggest failures that you've had, and what you learned from it?
I mean, I'd say there's probably like 3 really big failures.
Okay, hit me with them.
I mean, part of success is, you're going to have a ton of failures. Without the failures, you can't grow from it. You can't learn from it.
Absolutely.
One of my biggest failures is I never went to college.
Okay.
That was a huge failure. I don't necessarily believe in the degree being the success.
Okay.
But I believe in getting that everyone's in the same place in life at the same time, growing at the same, And those connections, networking. The big piece about not going to college was I had to build a network from scratch.
Gotcha.
Versus college would allow that.
Okay.
That was one of my biggest failures. Second failure was, again, in real estate. When I first started, I was a little overconfident, and I didn't surround myself with enough people that were also in the game.
Gotcha.
I had a couple of people, but I wasn't really listening. Okay. They were saying, hey, Corey, you're moving too fast. You have a skill set. And I just didn't listen as much. So I wish I would have had more mentors around me that I would listen to.
So real quick, those people that were talking to you, were they at a place where you wanted to be? I mean, were they qualified to give you advice? Just out of curiosity.
They were.
Okay, got it. Okay,
they were. They were. But you're young.
Yeah, you're listening. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I was young. I was doing a lot of transactions. I was building up a portfolio, and the money was coming so fast that I just was like, hey, man, no one can tell me anything. I'm going to do this forever.
Right.
And overnight,
bam,
I didn't have it set up. I was a house of cards. I didn't have it set up professionally like I do now.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Basically, a failure would be in the beginning, not having enough mentors in my life and listening.
Yeah.
Not taking everything they say, but enough of what they say and apply it to my game plan.
Totally. And that's why I asked would they qualify, because a lot of people, I mean, man, my father used to say that opinions are like buttholes, basically. Everybody has one, right?
Yeah.
So, and also I've noticed that it's easier to criticize than it is to create. Correct. So it's like, anybody's like, oh yeah, this is the wrong way, it's the right way, whatever. So that's why I asked.
That color was dumb. Why'd you put that there?
Yeah, I would have done that. Well, you ain't never been there before,
So how can you know?
yeah. So I take it, marriage advice from somebody who's been divorced 20 times or whatever.
Yeah,
but anyway,
it makes no sense.
It makes no sense, yeah. But anyway, so based on that, what advice would you give to somebody who says, hey, I want to be like you. I want to start off in real estate. I want to, do what you're doing. What advice would you give them?
Again, game plan. That's number one. What's your plan?
Okay.
A lot of people are like, I want to start a business. Well, okay. What's your plan? Well, I'm just going to make widgets. How are you going to get it sold?
Okay.
What type of market are you going to? How much are you going to spend on it? And especially in real estate specifically.
Yeah.
If you want to get into the real estate investing, you have to be one of three things. You have to be the money. You have to be the one that does the work, like the maintenance, fixing it up, whatever.
Okay, sure.
Or you have to be the one that finds the deals, finds the properties.
Nice.
If you don't have one of those three to become a real estate investor specifically, it's never going to happen.
You can't do it.
So that's the first kind of blueprint. The second would be, if you do want to get into real estate, or you are in real estate right now, is you got to get around people that are like in your network.
Okay.
For instance, I meet with investors every single week that want to get in the game.
Okay.
Corey, I want to pick your brain. Right. And they almost always start off saying, Corey, I got this book or this seminar or whatever. And the dude is from California. The guy's from Oklahoma. The guy's from Florida.
Sure.
And I'm like, those principles are good.
Yeah.
That book doesn't tell you what's going on right here in Minnesota, where we're at.
In your market,
I'm like,
right.
In our market. And I'm like, it's totally different. So you got to get around players that are doing it in your market. And the best way to learn is from people that are hands-on.
Got it. Makes sense. So what have been the best resources for you? I mean, you kind of hit on a couple of those things, but what are maybe the top 2-3 resources that have been the best for you?
I mean, one, social media, following people on social media.
Okay.
I mean, that always helps to see kind of what they're doing.
Okay.
Honestly, for me, the biggest resource has been my network.
Gotcha.
I mean, I don't know how to quantify it, but network is everything.
Sure.
I mean, I built this whole business on networking, who I know. And so what would happen is, instead of looking for the exact resource, say like a tax guy or a mortgage lender, I made a network with people. I made connections with people. And then those people would say, hey, man, I heard you were looking for a commercial lender. Call my guy.
Gotcha.
I call that guy. That's where I get the resource.
Got it.
Versus just calling, like going online and trying to call a number and say, hey, I'm trying to get a start. It doesn't work.
Sure.
Network. I mean, your biggest resource is going to be who you know and who you're surrounded with.
Makes sense. So this actually ties into the next question. I was going to ask, maybe who are like the 3 most influential people in your life? I'm assuming they came from your network, but who are those 3 people, man?
One guy is a gentleman that when I was a teenager, I started working in construction. His name is Andre Clark.
Okay.
I started working in construction with him, and we were doing all these construction deals with real estate investors.
Okay.
You know, these were guys who were flipping houses. They were doing all that. But where I was at as a teenager, he had come from the Bahamas, and he started a business from scratch. He wasn't American, and he started from the bottom. And he was able to build up a successful business. And he counseled me every single day, just about life.
Okay.
You know,
nice.
Talked to me about stocks. He talked to me about real estate. Talked to me about stop messing with girls, like get your life focused, like
right, everything.
You know, all this. That would be number one. Second person was probably the person that really got my restart was my Uncle Bob. My Uncle Bob. He's a guy that when you ask what does he do, like no one really knows, but he always had money. You know, it's like, well, what does he do? Man, I don't know. But he always had bread.
Right. Okay.
And so I remember it was like 2011, you know, market was down and he was looking to do some investment stuff. And I'm like, hey man, I'm about to get back in this real estate game. I know you knew my story, like all of that, but I'm like, look, man, I'm different. I know this will be successful.
Yeah.
And he was an investor and all that. And he was like, all right, I'll stake you.
Okay.
And he literally gave me my first, you know, real investment into me and my company.
Okay.
And that first initial seed money was what built the whole thing. And I done paid him back probably 20x on that money at this point. I mean, he made a bunch off that. But every step of the way, he was counseling me, being like, hey, this is what you should do with the money. Here's how you should grow it. Here's what I've learned. And then I'd say the third person would be my father-in-law. He's just an old wise guy that just has all the answers to life, you know, just really good, but also was heavy into investment. He worked 9 to 5, worked really hard, but took all his money and poured it into real estate. So when he retired, he had a real estate portfolio. Okay. And so I was able to see his journey at the end. I didn't really get to see it during, but I got to see the fruits of his labor. And I'm like, man, that's what I want. And so he just told me how he got there.
Okay. So to me, man, I'm hearing a common thread is really just your relationships, you know, relationships, and also listening to advice of people. Because, you know, it's kind of like you can learn from either experience or advice. One is more expensive than the other, one's more painful, right?
You got to have both.
You got to have both.
And you're going to have both.
You know what? You do have to have both. I guess I hadn't really thought about it that way, but you can't escape the pain. You're right.
Because you can lead someone to water, but you can't make them drink. So the advice is like, go to this watering hole.
Yeah.
But the experience is I got there and I didn't drink and I learned a bad lesson.
That's true.
So you had to have both of them.
That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. You're right. So what is a common myth that you can debunk about real estate investing, man?
That it's easy.
Okay.
That's the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Because everyone thinks I just get my real estate license, tell people on social media, boom, I'm gonna be flooded. Or I just buy a duplex and I'm gonna be rich and buy 10 duplexes. Or I'm gonna flip one house and I'm gonna like make more money than I did last year.
Yeah.
None of that stuff is true.
Yeah.
Very few people I've met have ever done it like that. Okay. And I've been in the game, 15 plus years.
Yeah.
Have networked with so many people. I don't know anyone that's done it like that. It's
hard.
Sure. How the biggest myth?
Yeah, go ahead. Hit it with it. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just the biggest myth is thinking that the game's easy.
Yeah.
That you can just get in and like it's gonna be like good. I think you might have hit on a stat earlier, but in real estate, just with realtors in general, the success rate is less than like 20%.
Yeah.
You know? So 20% of the agents are doing 80% of the volume.
That's crazy.
So you take 100 realtors in a room, 20 of them are actually like career making money, and 80 of them are in some sort of like transition.
Sure.
They're not making enough money where they could quit their job. And real estate investing is even worse.
It is worse.
It's like 95% lose out.
I was going to say that 95%. Yeah, that's crazy. But it's kind of like life though. That's life.
It is.
Yeah, it's like most people are not successful, and but they're the ones that are talking the loudest. So you think that they know what they're talking about. but they don't. So
they don't. All of that.
It's crazy.
And trust me, this isn't the like don't get into the game.
Oh yeah.
This ain't the don't. This is I'm saying get in the game.
Oh totally.
I'm saying, or if you're in the game, get deeper in the game.
Yeah. No, I hear you 100%. I mean, you're just saying that this is the reality. I mean, you need to go in with your eyes open, and it really the best advice, even kind of what you're hitting on, is like it's going to be difficult, but build your network, take advice. I mean, and that's going to help people to really maybe start off with the knowledge that you have right now. They don't have to start from scratch and go through all that you went through if they listen to your advice, right? Yeah. But it's still not going to be easy. But if it's not easy, you're going in the right direction. So it's like, okay, yeah, and that's okay. Because I'm good. Yeah, go ahead.
And have that extreme belief that like this is my game plan.
Yeah.
And stay on the railroad, stay on the train tracks. Don't get derailed. Just be like, hey, this is a setback. I'm gonna come back at it stronger. Right. And every time you get around people, you don't have to take everything. This isn't a carbon copy.
Sure.
But take the learning lessons that you have and the advice and apply it to your game plan.
No, I hear you 100%. That's excellent advice. So if you were me, you were asking the questions, what would you ask you? I mean, what am I missing? What should I ask you that you can help me out with? What do you think?
What would I ask me, man?
Yeah. What am I missing, man?
Yeah. I mean, what would I ask me? That's an interesting one, man.
Okay.
Because I've asked so many other people questions. I never stopped to think, what would I ask myself?
Yeah. I mean, what do you know? What do you feel like you want to tell people that I haven't asked you about? I mean, I mean, you're hitting everything. You're hitting them all right now.
Yeah.
So.
I would say, if we're sticking to real estate investing, right?
Yeah.
One thing I would ask myself is which lane made you the most profit?
Got it. Okay.
So in real estate investing, man, you got the BRRRR method.
Yeah.
I know everyone's heard about that.
Yeah.
It's funny. The BRRRR method has been like a social media trend for like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Back when I started, man, that was just good business. We were doing that all day long. And then all of a sudden social media wants to make it a thing.
Yeah, bigger pockets. But
the BRRRR method, Airbnb, multifamily, commercial, flipping. Yeah. That's what I would ask myself. Like, hey, Corey, you've been in all of these sectors. You've done them all. Yeah. Which one do you think is the best? Based on what I want to accomplish. So if I'm the investor and I'm asking myself, here's the money I got, here's what do I want to accomplish, which lane? Because a lot of people just say, man, I'm going to do real estate investing.
Got it.
I said, well, which lane you going to be in?
Right.
That's what I would ask myself. Which one was the best?
Okay. So which one was the best for you?
Complicated. Okay. So for me, going back to the BRRRR method, I did the flips in order to build capital.
Got it.
Because I just didn't have any money.
Got it.
Okay. So the flips were all about building capital. And every flip I did, I took that money and put it into multifamily rental. And the multifamily rental built the foundation for the whole company. So every time I was able to build another block of multifamily housing that brought in monthly income, then I had more resources, more assets. The pressure kept coming off because I had monthly income coming in.
Totally.
Then with those assets, I was able to take the money from the assets, do bigger and bigger flips, do more and more flips, where it was like, hey, I did one flip. The first flip I ever did, I did everything myself, man. I was in there sheetrocking, drywalling, painting, but then it was like, then I did another one.
Okay.
Then I was able to do 2 in a year.
Yeah.
Then I brought in a crew and I was doing 3 a year. Then I was doing bigger ones. And now I'm doing, now I'll do an 8,000 square foot house in North Oaks for like $3 million. Sell that and buy 2 multifamily buildings.
That's huge, man. So what you're describing, my friend, is Monopoly. You're playing Monopoly.
That's it, man.
So here's what's so crazy. Monopoly is like my favorite game. Okay.
Me too, man. I love it.
I love it. And we would get together as kids. Matter of fact, some of my friends, Charles Foote and okay, all those crew, all the guys from back in the day. So we would play, but even before that, and man, I would always lose. Okay. I would always have a big old stack of money. Okay. But I would still lose. And so I was like, dude, and my one friend, he would always win. I said, man, what is the deal? I mean, why am I losing? He said, man, you got all the money, but you're not buying property. Okay.
You got no assets.
No assets. So anyway, that's a discussion for another thing. Yeah.
And it is, but let me hit on that real quick.
Go ahead.
That's a good point. The asset versus cash.
Yeah.
So as an investor, you're gonna find yourself in 1 or 2 buckets.
Okay.
You're gonna be asset light, cash rich.
Okay.
Or you're going to be cash poor and asset rich.
Got it.
and you don't want to be really either. You want a good, healthy balance. But in that scenario where if you have a lot of cash on hand, you got to stick it in assets. If you have a lot of assets, you got to pull the money out, refinance them, take the money out so that you have the capital. But for me, I didn't have either. I didn't have capital or assets.
Right. Start from scratch, literally. Literally.
But I knew that assets was the way to get the cash.
Okay.
Not borrowing it, not any of that. But I knew that once I had the assets, it was just like Monopoly. Once I had one property, I could get 3. Once I had 3, I could get 5. Once I had 5, I could do houses and hotels.
Yeah. And what's crazy about that is that most people, I think even in real estate, even amongst real estate investors, they know that kind of from a head level, but they still don't do it. I mean,
they don't do it.
It's still, because they can tell you the game. Now, especially because I've been in real estate, I was a real estate agent, broker, and investor, and real estate agents in particular can talk the game. Most of them, even less than them even know. And I say that just from personal experience. But the investors, it's crazy because they can tell you the game. They can tell you Robert Kiyosaki, cash flow quadrant. I take,
all of them.
But show me your property list. Show me your asset, They don't have none. You know what I mean?
They have none. You know how many so I had a brokerage. We had 30 agents, sold that. And I would preach it all the time. Like, man, you guys are in real estate. That's the easiest way to buy a property.
I know. But they're just salespeople, though. They're sales mentality.
And it just would go over their head. And I'd be like, look, especially the realtors that have been in the game 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I'm like, look, assets appreciate.
Corey, they just don't. Most people just don't listen. I don't know. And it took me years to get that too, because again, even when I first started flipping property and stuff, man, it still to me I was playing Monopoly the wrong way. I was living check to check. There were bigger checks now, but
still check to check.
Still check to check.
There's people that make millions and live check to check.
And it's crazy because they don't see it. I don't know. Because you have to start all over again every time.
I don't want to throw athletes and entertainers under the bus, but that's the prime example. They have so much cash that they can go buy whatever. Yeah. But when the cash runs out, you're like, well, where was the asset purchase?
I know.
And there isn't a lot of asset purchases. And that's why ESPN can do 30 for 30s called broke. Because they didn't buy no assets.
I know, and again, I can already tell you're not gonna have about a whole series of podcasts. We got to talk about this stuff, but anyway. So before I get to the last question, man. So how can people reach out to you if they want to connect with you? How do they do that?
Obviously you can hit me up on social media at The Real Corey Wright. You can hit me on Instagram, Facebook. That's one way to reach out to me. Okay. I take appointments all the time. I'm probably in a meeting at least once or twice a week. Okay. And I'm blessed enough that where I'm at financially, I truly am trying to be a wealth builder right now.
Nice.
I'm trying to help as many people build wealth because I look at my journey and be like, if I can make it based on what I was at, sure. 100 grand in debt, 7 foreclosures, like, I don't really have any empathy for people being like, well, I don't have this, I don't have that. It's like, I don't want to hear.
Right. Yeah. And I totally respect that. So, so we're going to definitely have to continue this conversation, but let me hear you this last question. So we've been talking about stats all day. So if you Google the term real estate investor failure rate, okay, you're going to see that 95% of real estate investors fail. All right. Yeah. So you're in an industry with a 95% failure rate, but you're in the top 5%. So what I want to know is, I guess it's 2 parts. How would you define the word unstoppable? And then what did you do when it came to achieving success in this real estate industry? What did you do to make yourself unstoppable with regard to that? Yeah.
So part of it is, I'm trying to write a book. We'll see what happens.
Oh, nice.
But it's pretty much the answer to the how do you be unstoppable.
Okay.
100 no's, 1 yes.
Wow.
Pretty simple. So to be unstoppable, if you knock on 100 doors, knock, knock, knock. No, I don't want nothing. Knock, knock, knock. No, I don't want nothing. Some people will stop knocking at 5. Some people will stop knocking at 10. Yeah. Some people will stop knocking at 50. Some people might even go 100. For me, how I was unstoppable, I wasn't going to stop knocking until I heard a yes.
Wow. Okay.
That's how you be unstoppable. So if I had to knock on 100 doors to get the resource that I need, I'm going to knock on 100 doors. And I'm going to keep knocking until I get that yes. Because you know what? Once I get 1 yes, then I get 2 yeses, then I get 3 yeses.
Right.
Now, guess what? Instead of me knocking on the door, I got 100 people knocking on my door.
Right. Nice.
Then that's when the whole game flips.
Right. Whole nother story.
So that's how you stay unstoppable. So for me, I mean, that's kind of a motto I've been on, man.
Nice. So just real quick. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I mean, you pretty much
said
them both. I said, how did you make yourself unstoppable? Which I guess
I kind of answered it within that, but it was just the drive. You know, when I was sitting at home, you know, I'm sitting on the couch, newly married, no income, no job, and I'm asking my wife, like, "Hey, man, I need $50 just to put gas in my car."
Wow.
You know, and I'm sitting there at the lowest point you can possibly be.
Sure.
I just knew in my heart, in my head, I'm like, this will never be me. Okay. And I'm like, I know for a fact that I'll be successful.
Yeah.
And I had that ultimate drive to be like, I don't care if it's my mom, my wife, my cousin, whoever doesn't think I can make it.
Sure.
I'm going to make it.
Man, this is crazy. I have thoroughly enjoyed. This has been like, been the school, man. I'm in school. I'm a student. And I really appreciate your time. We're definitely going to have to keep this, keep the conversation going, man.
Anytime.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, thanks, man, for your time, for all the knowledge. I'm sure that everybody listening is really enjoying it, man. And so just, I don't even know what else to say, man. I'm just like, going to go back and read my notes, listen to this again, and go start playing Monopoly.
All I can say is run it back, man. I got so much in my head, man, that, I freely share, man. I don't feel like hiding any secrets, man. So when people ask me like the actual secrets to the game, I love pulling the curtain back. Okay. Like, this is how it's really happening.
Yeah, well, I'll be over there helping you watching you pull the curtain back. We're gonna definitely have to talk again, man. So
hey, for sure, man. Well, I appreciate it.
No problem. You take care. Talk to you soon, okay?
You too, man.
All right, bye-bye.